Have you ever wondered how you can teach English in Japan when most of your students don't actually speak English? Let me walk you through what I do in the classroom here in Japan, from textbooks, games, etc. Let's get started. Trust me, it's not what you think. My name is Upendanais Barasa. I moved to Japan to teach English from Kenya. If you're interested, subscribe. You don't want to miss it. Come on, join the bandwagon. First, let's understand your role in the classroom. It's very important for you to understand what position you hold, especially in a country like Japan, where hierarchy is very important. The first term that you have to understand is an ALT. An ALT is an assistant language teacher, yourself. It means that your role is to assist somebody. But who do you assist? We have two people. One is the JTE, which stands for the Japanese Teacher of English, and two, we have the HRT, the homeroom teacher. JTEs are mostly found in junior high schools. In most cases, in fact, 90% of them, I think, they can hold a conversation in English. They are very fluent in English because in junior high school, they tend to teach a lot of grammar. In elementary school, expect to have an HRT, the homeroom teacher. In most cases, many of them don't speak English, but they can understand like simple words like hello, how are you, stand up, sit down, like basic English phrases. But we do have some that are very, very good at it. Lastly, this is not common, but we do have support teachers in elementary school. Their work is not to teach, but to support the ALT, the HRT, and the JTE sometimes. Their work is to ensure that the students are participating, they're well taken care of, they're not making noise, they understood the instructions. So basically, they just walk around and ensure that the students are well taken care of. Let's talk teaching materials. Japan is such a structured country, and the education system is very well, put together. We do have lots of textbooks. For example, New Horizon Elementary. This is for grade 6. And we do have Let's Try to, I think this is grade 4. As you've noticed, if you open this textbook, you will see something like this. And in most cases, these textbooks do have a digital textbook as well. You will realize that most of them do have QR codes as well, somewhere like that. And then the pictures that you see are actually short clips or short movies or short videos. When you have access to the digital textbook, you'll be able to play the videos the students can watch, and they can write down, what they hear or what they see. So that being said, it means that there'll be lots of audio visuals in the classroom. So a lot of recordings, a lot of short films, and all the textbooks do have a digital version as well. You can play songs, you can play games, you can watch short stories, and all the students have to do is listen. In some classes, we might not have the privilege to use all that in an entire classroom. We do have flashcards. Unfortunately, I don't have one to show you guys, but a flashcard, basically think of it as a visual for something. It's paper visual. So if you're teaching something like animals, you can have a picture of a cat printed on a card, and you can write the name cat. So you can paste it on the board when you go to class, and the students are able to see it. Other things that you can use are like PowerPoints, Canva, Google Slides. They're very, very important. And sometimes the students like such things. They like little projects where they can create a Canva presentation, a Google slide, and they can talk about things that they like or do a presentation in English based off of what they have learned in the classroom. In short, you don't have to worry much. The textbooks do have both English and some Japanese words, but you're not going to teach the textbook because the textbook has already been planned out for you. The students mostly just have to do a lot of listening and speaking and writing as well. We don't really teach grammar in elementary school. The 3rd and 4th graders, we just emphasize on production, which is speaking. So you don't have to worry about spelling. They don't have to care about, writing, etc. In that At that age group, all they have to do is speak, 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 practice, practice, practice. In 5th and 6th grade, we do emphasize a bit of writing, a bit of spelling, but not much, no grammar, just English. Let them speak as much as they can, let them practice as much as they can, and let them be able to express a complete thought. But in junior high school, there's a lot of grammar, and that's why the Japanese teachers of English do speak English fluently, because they do need to understand Japanese as well to be able to explain English grammar, because it's difficult. You can imagine somebody trying to explain French grammar to you and you don't speak French. So obviously it's going to be difficult, and that's their work. They will explain the grammar, and then once the student understands, your role as an ALT would be to go over the things and now ask questions in English to see if they can apply the rules. Most of the time in junior high school, you have to read passages or short stories, and the students repeat after you, or sometimes they read, ask them questions about the general idea of the story. You have to gauge whether the students understood or not. Aside from teaching materials and tools, we do have lots of games, especially in elementary school, because for them to produce the language, they have to find activities that can help them or encourage them to actually speak, because English is a foreign language and some of them are not motivated. Some of them don't like English as a language or as a subject, so you have to try as much as possible to make it fun and enjoyable. How do you do that? Lots of songs, like we said, and games. Think about games that you played back home. Think about games that they know in Japan, and you can apply them in the classroom. It doesn't have to be like education related. It could be something you watched on TV. Find a way to twist it and apply it in the classroom. In most cases, you may ask, or you may wonder, like, how do you explain these games? In Japan, or when it comes to teaching English as a second language, there's something that we say show, don't tell. So instead of explaining, oh, fast, 2 people do this, walk in pairs, do blah, 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 just show. You have 3 teachers in the classroom, act it out. In short, you're a performer. So you have to stand in front of the classroom. Instead of explaining, do what you want them to do. So if you want them to run, run. If you want them to touch something and run, touch, run. Another thing is to use basic English. You realize I'm not saying like, please touch the wall. I would say touch, run. Touch, run. Okay? When I'm saying make a friend, I would say friend or pair. 2 friends. You don't say, please make 2 friends, please make 2 pairs. No. Make English as simple as possible. If you can, just use one word and lots of gestures. You don't say, please come. You can just say, come, stand, sit. Because many of them do not understand English when you put it together. Like when you construct full sentences, they might not get it. But when you say one key word, they will understand. What does a full lesson actually look like? So basically in elementary school, our class could be between 40 to 45 minutes, depending on the school, but mostly 45 minutes. The beginning of the class, we have greetings. We call them the $5 million questions. You have to ask, good morning, how are you? How is the weather? What day is it today? And what's the date today? Every class that you go to in Japan, from elementary school to junior high school, at the start of every lesson, you have to start by the 5 questions. Yeah. So you have to start with that, and then everything else. After that, you have to do a warm-up activity to get them prepared for the lesson. You could find a song on YouTube and let them sing and dance, or you could find a small game or a short mini game related to something that they already know. Maybe if you taught colors last lesson, you can come up with a short game to remind them of colors, and then you can begin the lesson of the day. Next, what else? Now the body. This is the lesson plan now. Usually the Japanese teacher, the homeroom teacher, will tell you what to do, or sometimes they just teach and you support them. but most of the time, each topic is supposed to be taught for a month. So the textbook has like maybe 8 units, and each unit is taught for a whole month. So usually you know what you're going to do in the classroom, but just follow the JTEs or the HRT lead. If you're T1, because some schools will ask you to be T1, some teachers want you to take over, you'll always have your lesson plans. And then after that, you'll have maybe a conclusion, or you do worksheets, you play games. So it's not that serious. Introduce, it could be even animals. Think of, let's say, cat, dog, chicken, monkey. Today's lesson is just animals, and you put your flashcards on the board, your Google Slides, and say cat. The students repeat cat, dog, dog, chicken, chicken. After you've gone through the vocabulary maybe once or twice, then you can play a game. You could play missing game. Remove one card, like cat, tell the students to close their eyes, and then ask them which card is missing, and they'll just say, oh, cat. So after that, you can give them a worksheet to either write something, to match arrows like picture to the name of the animal, something like that, and then conclude the lesson. What are some of the challenges that you are most likely to experience? One, especially in your first week, first month, is shy students. Japanese students can be very shy, especially when you're just new, you look different. And for me, I think as a Black person, it was a bit intimidating, especially with the younger kids. Some were just curious about you, your skin color, your hair, blah, blah, blah. And they tend to be a little bit shy. And that means they might not participate well. They might not raise their hands to answer questions. You might end up speaking to yourself, or the Japanese teacher will have to translate something, or ask them, encourage them to participate and answer questions. Another thing would be language barrier. Sometimes you might do the whole demonstration thing, show, don't tell, but the students don't understand, which means that you need to know how to speak Japanese. Imagine if you don't have another teacher in class to help you explain. You will definitely be in trouble, because you'll start looking at each other. That has happened to me so many times, where I tried to explain something so much, but the students don't get it, and I've exhausted all ways to explain. So we just look at each other, or ask the Japanese teacher to explain. And sometimes the Japanese teacher doesn't understand. So it's very important for you to brief them before the lesson, so they know what is supposed to be done and what is going to happen. In case you get stuck, they're going to help you. Another thing is repetition. Challenges. You will repeat, you will do the same things over and over again. Sometimes you might have 3 third grade classes, and you have to do the same lesson so many times. Some classes are nice, some are not as nice. They're very noisy. Some are cooperative, some are not, but monotony is a big thing. And lastly, I think this is a challenge I had at my junior high school, adapting to teachers and their teaching styles. In junior high school, I have 4 or 5 teachers. So imagine having to work with 5 teachers in one school and learn their teaching style. And sometimes it's difficult, because you need more time with them. You need at least 2, 3, 4, 5 classes with one teacher to understand how they like their classes running and what they expect of you. But it's difficult, especially when it's your first time in a country, in a school, and you have 5 teachers that you have to learn, study, and understand. So that is what you might experience, but in general, you can adapt. Many of these things you learn on the job. Don't worry, there's a lot of training that is provided, especially when you just land into the country. That is the first thing that you will do. You'll basically have an idea of what is expected of you, but most of the time, I learned a lot in class. There are so many things I never anticipated. There are things I had to form on the spot when I'm prompted that I didn't plan for. So you don't have to worry, you'll just wing it. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you again next time. Bye.